Thanks for joining week 4. Congrats on making it 4 weeks with our Check.Change.Control initiative, locally sponsored by Health Plan of San Joaquin. Before we get started with the presentation, I would like to welcome Selena from Health Plan of San Joaquin to welcome everybody.
Hi, thank you, Monica. So, hi everyone, my name is Selena Coet from Health Plan of San Joaquin. I am a health promotion specialist, and welcome everyone. Like Monica said, you guys made it to the 4th class, so it's very exciting. And so basically, we are teaming with the American Heart Association to help people address their blood pressure through the Check.Change.Control program. And so for those of you that have stayed consistently with the last 4 or with the last 3 classes, the last few lessons that we had focused on were a lot on physical health, but good mental and emotional well-being is just as important for your heart health. And we all basically experience stress, but negative stress can keep you from feeling and performing your best, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So stress can also affect your blood pressure levels too. It's important to know how to manage the stress in your life, in addition to eating healthy and moving more. So today, I feel like this topic is going to be really, really fun. So everyone get excited, because this is what we all deal with every single day, and learning how to manage this is going to be absolutely beneficial to everyone. So if you have any questions at all, please let me know. And I do have some of my team members here in Health Plan of San Joaquin who are very educated on diabetes and not diabetes, sorry, blood pressure as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Selena. And, as we have been doing for the past 3 weeks, feel free to add any questions, challenges, barriers that you want to talk about into the chat, or feel free to come off mute. We've been spending 4 weeks together, so like a family. It was very informal. No need to be super formal. Feel free to stop me or interrupt me at any point. So again, thanks for joining week 4. Congratulations, you made it. Before we get started with the actual presentation, I did want to kind of just level set and really take the opportunity to just relax, to calm our minds. This is the lunch hour after all, and it's, a good opportunity for a break. And would like to share some techniques that I personally have found useful when in stressful situations, when I need to, my mind starts to just spiral, and I need to just get a little more grounded, need to calm those stress hormones, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and just kind of quickly reset. So would love for you all, if you want to stay off camera, that's totally fine. We're going to do some breathing exercises. The first one I do that I like to teach people is the 5-finger breathing exercise. You take your 5 fingers, again, trying to find things that, we utilize things that we're already doing or that we already have. So hold up your hand, and you're going to be tracing your fingers. And as you go up, you're going to take an inhale. And as you go down, you're going to exhale. And you're going to do the same with each finger. Inhale when you trace up, exhale when you trace down. You're going to keep going. Sometimes it helps to make the noise. Deep belly breathing in. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. And what that does, hopefully it actually tired me out a little bit. Awesome. Yes, it is taught a lot in schools and for kids. But what it also does is it just takes sometimes 5 seconds to bring your cortisol levels down. Your cortisol is your stress hormone. And what it also does is it allows you to feel, right? So you're also feeling the sensation of your hands. So you're focusing on something else. And you're also concentrating on the up, breathing in, and kind of corresponding it to that. Down is breathing out or exhaling. So you're really focused on those things. And it kind of helps you to stop focusing on whatever was making your mind spiral, because you're concentrating so hard on trying to do this correctly. So other sensations, it kind of tickled sometimes. So it gave me a tickling sensation. So it kind of made me smile. Also got me a little out of breath, but now I'm hot. But it kind of helps you kind of refocus on something else. Another thing, if you don't want to hold your hand up and you might feel silly, another thing is box breathing. And if you don't have 5 seconds, you can do box breathing. So I have Post-its at my desk. I have a coaster at my desk. You can take a book that you have, if you have a notebook, and do the same thing. So you're tracing inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And you can do that as many times as you need. So if you want to do it for longer, you want to do 8 counts or so on or so forth, you can do it as many times as you need to until you start to feel really grounded, until you feel like you're more calm. Another thing I like to do is kind of look at what I have in the room. So I'm at work, I'm at my desk. If work can be stressful, what I have at my desk is a scented candle. I don't light it, I sometimes just smell it. Bringing in another sense. This is a scent I really enjoy, and I just kind of breathe something that I enjoy. It's called Peace and Tranquility, and it's a cashmere jasmine, and it's just such a beautiful smell that it takes me to a different place. I also have scented lotion. This is Eucalyptus Spearmint, another stress relief lotion. I actually physically put it on. So instead of just smelling it, I actually put it on because, again, it's that sensation. It's the sensation of touch. I feel moisture. So I'm really concentrating on something else other than yes, eucalyptus is one of my favorite calming things too. So it's not just the smell, but you're feeling it between your fingers, you're rubbing it on your hands. So it's kind of doing the same thing where you're concentrating on something else. Another thing that I have is a rock, and I keep this on my desk. I also keep one in my purse. And I keep one in my car. So if I'm stressed in traffic, again, that physical touch and sensation, feeling the rock, putting it between my fingers, and being aware and acknowledging what it feels like. It feels bumpy. There is like a little crack here that's a little rough, but other parts of it are smooth. It feels cold, and really and you can squeeze it. So if you're feeling really stressed and need to get something out, you can squeeze the rock, but you can also be very aware and kind of bring all of your senses together. So I just put lotion on my hands. I can smell the eucalyptus, but I can also feel the rock. So that's multiple sensations that I'm feeling right now that kind of help me feel grounded. The eucalyptus is a plant, obviously. A rock is of the earth. So I really think about that and how that really grounds me. Thinking about nature is very grounding for me. So I like to have things that remind me of nature, like the eucalyptus and a rock. So those are just some quick tips that I use and things that make me feel happy and joyful. So I really encourage you to find those little things that you can kind of take with you anywhere, like a rock. Another thing is I also have plants hanging on my walls. So another thing you can do to kind of ground yourself and bring yourself out of that stressful space is to just look around the room. Don't judge anything, but just look around and point out what you see. So if you can just do that right now, and you can just say, I see plant, lamp, candle, keyboard, phone, cup, mug, pen, sunshine. And just call out things. Again, you're focusing your attention on something else, bringing an awareness back to where you're at. Again, not judging things. I did have a quick second where I have 3 cups on my desk, and that kind of stressed me out because I felt like my desk was getting messy and why do I have 3 cups? But don't do that. I quickly told myself, nope, it's just cup and mug. So sometimes you do have to control your mind and tell your mind, kind of trick your mind and catch those thoughts while they're happening. It does take work to capture the thoughts that you have and recognize when it's a judgment thought. But with practice, again, you can do that wherever you are. If you're feeling stressed out at the grocery store, or you're stressed out in the car sitting in traffic, you can just look around and see what you have in your car or around your space, just to kind of bring yourself to center yourself. So hope you can take those stress management tips. And if you want, you can do it right now. We can do another quick breathing exercise before we get into the presentation. So we can do a deep inhale. Another one is putting your hands on your heart or on your stomach and kind of feeling the belly rise or the chest rise as you breathe. And exhale. Again, that sensation of feeling. And take a deep breath out. And now we can start the presentation. First slide, please. So mental well-being, as opposed to mental health, includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, we feel, how we act. It also determines how we handle stress, how we relate to others, and how we make choices. And after more than a year of isolation, uncertainty, a lot of transitions, or like we like to say pivots, adjustments, ongoing societal pressures, social media, social issues, taking care of our mental health and well-being is more important now than ever. And everyone experiences stress. It could be long-term, it could be short-term, they could be good stress and they could be bad stress. There could be big stressors or small stressors. But, you know, if you think about when you're driving in your car and the car in front of you slams on their brakes, and then you end up like for a quick second, really stressed, really scared, maybe angry, that's a really quick moment of stress. And then everything's fine, unless you unfortunately end up hitting them. That creates an even bigger stress. Or when you have work stress. So say you have a big deadline or a work project that's coming. It's still technically short term until that deadline is over, until that project is done. So maybe you have 2 weeks or a month of a project that you're experiencing stress with this project. So that's a little bit longer than that quick fleeting, oh my gosh, I have to slam on the brakes real quick. Or it could be longer term stress, like dealing with ongoing financial issues, a chronic health issue, relational issues. So they don't necessarily have like a concrete deadline or finish to it. That's more of a long-term chronic stress. The fact of the matter is that everyone experiences stress. So it's normal, but it is manageable if you have the right tools in place. So next slide, please. So how does stress affect your body? As Selena had mentioned, you know, managing your stress can help manage your blood pressure, but let's talk about how specifically stress affects your body. When you are in stressful situations, you may have difficulty concentrating, like when your mind starts to spiral, you're not focusing on what's happening right now. You may have feelings of worthlessness. So if you're not able to perform well in something, you may just be extra down on yourself. It could lead to relationship strain. So when we talked about emotional well-being and how it can impact how you act, it can impact the decisions you make, that impacts your relationship. It could lead to reduced earnings. So if you're not performing well in work or not performing well in school, that has long-term effects. It can increase disability. One example is we work with the construction industry on mental well-being, and a lot of it has to do with when their construction workers are really stressed. That proposes a safety issue when they're on the job. So, you know, with those safety issues, there could be lots of accidents that can lead to disabilities, unfortunately. There are other ways that it could increase your disability based on health issues that come up from chronic stress. It could also increase suicidal ideation. So if you're feeling worthless, if you're just feeling really down and depressed, unfortunately, people do have suicidal ideation when extremely depressed. And all of this can lead to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and tobacco use. So if you think about, when you're really stressed, you're stress eating, you're not sleeping well, you're unmotivated, you don't feel like working out. We had talked about all of those goals for a healthy life. It's hard to get up and work out, or it's hard to shop for healthy food when you're just, all you want to do is sleep because you're so sad. So all of that can lead to these health issues that we've been talking about. So all of this is connected: your brain health, your heart health, and mental health. All of that is connected. All of that is really important into managing your overall health and well-being. Next slide, please. So the mind-body connection, sometimes, we had talked about some bad stressful situations being, in the car or with work, but sometimes we stress over good things, like a long line at a brunch spot or a new job. It's really exciting and it's a good change, but you're still really nervous. Still a lot to learn. That can be stressful, but it's a good thing. Or an upcoming wedding or a new baby, again, celebratory, but there's a lot to do. There's a lot to plan. If you're a brand new mom, that can be really stressful and not knowing what to expect, but overall, it's a really exciting celebratory thing. So there's good stress too. And then we talked about kind of the not so good stress when it's a health issue or a work issue or a family issue. But long-term stress actually impacts your body's stress response system, and we'll talk a little bit about that too, along with prolonged exposure to cortisol and other stress hormones that may put you at risk for health troubles. So kind of talked about it in the last one, but here are some additional health troubles that long-term stress can have on your body. So digestive problems. A lot of people feel stress in different ways. Some people have heart palpitations. Some people have digestive issues when they feel overly stressed. It can lead to anxiety, headaches, depression, sleep problems, weight gain, which we talked about, not being able to eat or do physical activity really well, memory and concentration issues, high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke, which is why we're here today, to help prevent that and learn ways to manage your stress. Next slide, please. So when you're feeling down or you're feeling stressed, it's really easy to reach for your comfort food. I know we have a lot of stress eating. My comfort food is, I'm Filipino, and Filipino food isn't the healthiest food, but it is my comfort food. And then I do love Oreo cookies. That's my happy food. Obviously, Oreo cookies aren't good for you. It's a processed food, high sugar. But to be honest, that's my comfort food. So when I'm feeling stressed or just need to pick me up, I reach for those Oreos. And it is, again, hard to get motivated to work out, but really need to think about your heart health and how important it is. And actually working out does help boost your mood, and we'll talk about so when you're stressed or you're anxious, feeling overwhelmed, you're probably not going to make the healthiest choices because all you can think about is the stressful or negative emotion that you're feeling. So you can also, I know a lot of people, when they're stressed, they tend to turn to or smoking as a stress reliever. Obviously, that's not good for your heart health, lung health, blood pressure. So these unhealthy habits and unhealthy behaviors really increase the risk for heart disease and heart attack. So when you experience depression, anxiety, or stress, your heart rate and your blood pressure rises. So there's reduced blood flow to your heart, and your body does produce higher levels of cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And over time, these effects can lead to heart disease. Depression and anxiety can also develop after cardiac events, including heart failure, stroke, and heart attack. So for those who are heart attack or heart disease survivors, we do have resources as to where you can go for some support Depression after cardiac events is normal, unfortunately, so there's no need to feel shame for that. But we do have support groups that we'll share the link to following this presentation to help get some support and join a support group for that. Next slide, please. So we've been talking about cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and that's why the breathing exercise, when you're in stressful situations, the cortisol levels rise. But when you breathe, even just 5 seconds, it gives your cortisol time to kind of slow down and get back to homeostasis or back to normal. But there are also these things called happy hormones, and they are the body's own chemical mood boosters that influence our sense of well-being. So these 6 here, these 6, they're substances and neurotransmitters. So there's serotonin, oxytocin, adrenaline, or norepinephrine, endorphins. Oh, sorry, I skipped dopamine. And the last one, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. It's I don't know if anybody on the call knows how to pronounce this. But there's these 6, and all of them have a different function or effect to it. So dopamine is your motivation, and it increases your impulses. Serotonin is your feel-good hormone, and it helps to kind of improve your mood and reduce your anxiety. Oxytocin is the function, cuddling, we'll get into that in a little bit, but it increases your feelings of trust and bonding and reduces stress. So if you know when you have a newborn baby, how important it is to hold the baby to your chest, it really increases that bonding. Hear about that a lot. Adrenaline helps our response to short-term stress. So adrenaline is that fight, flight, or freeze response. So when you're in a stressful situation, like you're, I don't know, always hear about going to be attacked by a bear or something like that, your adrenaline goes up, and it's your fight or flight. And a lot of people forget freeze. You can kind of be a mix of both. I am a freeze first and then fight. Or you run. All of those, just kind of everyone has different responses. Your endorphins are your energy, so it inhibits the perception of pain and enhances motivation. And that last one is pleasure, so it increases the sensation of pleasure or feeling loved. There are other hormones. There's testosterone, estrogen, cortisol. We talked about insulin, melatonin. There's so many different types of hormones that our bodies have, but these are the happy, or what are deemed happy hormones. Next slide, please. So here are some ways to kind of increase these happy hormones. First one is light. So serotonin is released more when you're exposed to natural sunlight or vitamin D. So try to spend at least 30 minutes a day in fresh air. This not only makes you happier, but can also strengthen your immune system. So vitamin D is great for your immune system. It's great for building muscle. So being outside, preferably without sunglasses, because you do absorb a lot of the sunlight rays through your eyes. Definitely wear sunscreen if you need to, but that helps increase your serotonin. Exercise. When you exercise, it releases endorphins, dopamine, and adrenaline or noradrenaline. So it really does a lot for 3 out of the 6 happy hormones. So again, physical activity has a number of benefits to it, in addition to what we had talked about a few weeks ago. So again, finding your physical activity that works for you. Walking. Margaret, you do your bike. That's great. So something good for your mood, and hey, kill 2 birds with 1 stone and walk outside. So you can get the light for your serotonin, but you can also get the exercise for your endorphins and dopamine. Touch. We talked about that hormone for oxytocin. So, if you have a partner or a pet, cuddle with them, cuddle on the couch while watching TV, or when you're walking, hold hands outside. Definitely love to snuggle up with my pups every chance I get. Diet. A diet rich in protein, whole grains, healthy fats, and lots of fruits and veggies. We had talked about that during our nutrition presentation. So again, multiple benefits for both of those. And then relaxation. So adverse stress is not good for your central nervous system. Again, that central nervous system is where, when you're stressed out, when we talked about trying to reset and kind of come back to homeostasis and get grounded, that's resetting your central nervous system. When you're doing those breathing exercises, you're smelling the candle. So try to consciously relax in your everyday life using meditation, listening to music, doing those breathing exercises we talked about, journaling. Gratitude journaling has also been a really good practice for me, finding 2 or 3 things different every day to be thankful for. And laugh, fake it till you make it. Last but not least, you can control your sense of happiness by putting yourself in a good mood. So laughter affects the body in many ways. It reduces stress and it increases the activity of those 3 out of 6 of those happy hormones, the dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. So watch a comedy show on Netflix, watch your favorite comedy show, read some jokes, and have a laugh. Next slide, please. So I know we're supposed to be talking about mental well-being, and we covered nutrition last time, but food does impact your mood. And it's one of the things that we all do every day. Food is something you need throughout your day. So talking about it again. So have you all heard the term hangry? That's when you're hungry and angry at the same time. So with hangry, we know that food does have an effect on your mood, but understanding how they interact so you can make good diet choices and avoid emotional or impulse eating, me wanting to grab my bag of Oreos. It's a delicate relationship and it can spit out of control if you're not careful. Next slide, please. So even if you maintain a healthy diet, it's normal to desire high-calorie, unhealthy treats when you're stressed or depressed. This makes sense. Your body wants to fuel up for the fight or flight mode when times get tough, but it can mistake the stress of fighting traffic on the freeway for fighting predators in the savannah. So it's no wonder a whole pizza or a plate filled with fried chicken or chocolate milkshake can seem like the cure for a downer day. And there's a reason why it's called comfort food. I'm not saying never reach for your comfort food or never have your comfort food, right? Everything in moderation and being really careful and understanding, are you actually hungry or are you bored? A lot of people eat when they're bored or snack when they're bored. And how I like to combat this is asking yourself the question, if you're hungry or are you just bored or are you just stressed, is asking, do I want to eat an apple or do I want to eat an orange? Like, would you be okay eating an apple? If the answer is yes, you'll eat an apple, that means you're hungry because you'll eat whatever can kind of satiate your hunger. If the answer is no, I don't feel like eating an apple, then you're probably stress eating or you're probably bored or you're probably having that, that craving. You can replace apple with another healthy thing. Would you eat a salad? Would you eat a pineapple? You can replace it with any other healthy alternative and to eat that, or if that just kind of, you have an adverse reaction to that. So it is a vicious, I can attest to this. Again, a cheat meal, or what we call a cheat meal, society calls a cheat meal. Every now and then, use food, you're going to lose the war. So research shows that food full of fat and sugary only increase the likelihood of depression and anxiety, and that means you'll only want more sugary junk food to fight the bad mood. So certain foods boost moods and help those happy hormones perform together. So everything we've talked about the past couple of weeks. So lean meats, healthy oils, ones that are omega-3s, legumes or beans, whole wheat, high fiber, lots of fruits and vegetables, which remember 4 to 5 servings of each every day. And each of those fruits and vegetables have different vitamins. They all have great loads amount of vitamins, but some have more of some than others. So blueberries have something called flavonoids, and they can improve your mood. Dark leafy greens have something called folic, and that is Latin for leaf. But because dark leafy green vegetables are one of the best places to find folate, they are also rich in magnesium. Magnesium is shown to reduce anxiety and depression. Broccoli is rich in chromium, which can increase your levels of serotonin and melatonin and norepinephrine, again, those happy hormones. So having a variety of fruits and vegetables is good because each of those have different vitamins that support different happy hormones to help with your mood. Next slide, please. Okay, so we talked about different breathing techniques and looking at your surroundings and being out in nature. All of those can actually be a form of meditation, right? So you're calming your mind, you're focusing on one thing. But what if we combine the two while you're eating, make eating more of a meditation? So as you're eating, check in with yourself about your hunger before you eat. Like I had mentioned, you could not be hungry, you could be bored or stressed. Take a moment to, again, utilizing all your senses. When you have your food served or plated for you, smell the food, feel the food in your mouth, savor it. What is the texture like? Is it mushy? Is it chewy? Is it crunchy? And really savor it and take a moment to really taste all the different flavors in there. That is a form of meditation, being very observant and aware of your senses. We talked about exploring different flavors with herbs instead of salt, using different spices. Maybe that's a way to help kind of increase your meditation and kind of figure out what your flavor profile is. And then stop when you're full. So I know we were all raised to clean the plate when we were done, and I know not wanting to waste food, but being really careful not to overeat. You can save the leftovers for another snack or another meal. You don't have to throw it away. And if you are eating raw vegetables and you have a garden, you can, knowing that they're not sauteed in anything, you can compost it. So you're not wasting, you're actually bringing it back for more fruits and vegetables. But those are just some of the ways that you can combine your food and meditation. Next slide, please. Okay, so sleep matters a lot to your health and well-being. There is such thing as getting too much sleep and too little sleep. So sleep can do a number of things. It can help you be more productive. It can help you to stay healthy, of course, and bad sleeping habits can increase your calorie intake and may make you more at risk for high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease and stroke. So I'm going to go into some ways that you can get better sleep. You want to aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, and you want quality sleep. So just because your head is hitting the pillow at 9 and you wake up at 6 or 7, if you're tossing and turning all day, all night, and you're waking up throughout the night, you're still not getting that quality sleep you need for, again, those happy hormones to kick in, for you to feel rested. And when you don't feel rested, that kind of impacts the rest of your day. It impacts your mood. And again, the cycle continues. You feel tired, you're not performing well. So then you might have a stressful day at work or a stressful day period. And then you'll feel down on yourself. Like, it just kind of continues the cycle. But here are some tips to help you get some good sleep. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we recommend getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. And here are some tips. Again, building slow, healthy habits. You don't have to make all these changes all at once. You're still working on your physical activity. You're working on your nutrition. So here are some things that you can do to get an overall better night's sleep. So take it 1 week at a time. Adding physical activity to your day, adding meditation and deep breathing. When you exercise, you actually do sleep better, but being careful not to exercise too close to bedtime because it does give you more energy. So then you'll probably sleep later. And if you are wanting to, we had talked about finding a good time to work out. If closer to your bedtime is that time that you find is good for your workout session, try something that's a little less little low impact, maybe some yoga or stretching in the evening, something a little more relaxing than a big cardio workout before bed. And then week 2, establish a routine. Same thing, as we try to find a workout time that works for us, find out what time going to bed and waking up would work for you. And then the key to doing that is to do the same time every day, even on the weekends. So if you have to wake up at 6 a.m. to get to work, you should do it also on the weekends. I know that's hard. And set a daily alarm to find out how much is your ideal sleep. So some people perform better after 7 hours of sleep. Some people need a little bit more, and maybe you need to still figure out what that sweet spot is. Maybe you're 8 hours sleep and you feel great the next day. So kind of figuring out what's your ideal time. And then week 3, create a morning routine. If you are the type of person who needs help getting up in the morning, find something fun and exciting to do in the morning. And then also maybe that's the time that you find your physical activity works best, is in the morning before your day starts. So as soon as you get out of bed, get your running shoes and do that, or starting your day with a gratitude journal. And then break the snooze button habit. So it's easy to hit snooze over and over and over again, but trying to break that is really important too. And then wind down your tech time before bed. So I have started keeping my phone away. I usually sleep with it like on my nightstand. I keep it further away from me. Try not to be on your phone a few hours before bed because it does keep your mind going before bedtime. So just all tech too. So try not watching TV before bed. Maybe read a book instead. Do the breathing exercises, yoga, stretching, finding something else to kind of help you wind down instead of having your mind looking at a screen to kind of keep your mind, get your mind ready for bed. If you've tried and you really just aren't sleeping well, you may have a sleep disorder. So you need to talk to your doctor, your healthcare provider, to see what can be done about that. Next slide, please. So here are some additional tips to help you fight stress and build healthy stress management skills. I know we tend to live in a very fast-paced go, but it's very important to kind of slow down and plan ahead. So allowing enough time. I know some people are very deadline driven, but that doesn't mean you can't plan ahead. It really does kind of make life a little bit easier if you kind of think ahead and not have to, and try to avoid those kind of last minute stresses that may pop up. Again, snooze more, getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which we just talked about. Number 3, let worry go. I know, definitely easier said than done, but it does get better with practice. And of course, it depends on the situation. I'm not saying to not process what's bothering you. Definitely allow yourself to feel the emotions you're feeling. It's actually important to let yourself feel what you feel and process what happened, but don't dwell on it. Think about it, cry a little bit if you have to, and you need to release. Again, crying releases cortisol, which is that stress hormone. but get to a point where you can just let it go after processing everything and figuring out a solution. Again, we talked about laughter, getting connected. So find friends, reconnect with them, family, make time to text them or check in with them, call them, catch up. I know we've probably lost contact with a lot of our friends with the pandemic. And I mean, even if you have to reach out on social media and maybe do an IG chat or something with them, that's fine, but staying connected and get organized is another thing. I know when I have a cluttered car or a cluttered desk, I have a cluttered mind or a cluttered house, it really stresses me out. So it really helps me to clean my house and get organized. Organizing my inbox, my emailing inbox actually makes me very happy. So sometimes doing that can help with stress too. Practice giving back. So volunteering your time, spending time to help a friend out, helping others. Studies have shown that giving back to society, giving back to community actually has a lot of health benefits and increases your happy hormones. Exercise, again, being active every day. Give up bad habits. So too much alcohol, too much caffeine, guilty of that for sure. Tobacco or smoking can definitely increase your blood pressure and increase your anxiety as well. And lean into things you can change. We always have, a control the controllables and let go of things that you can't control. So if something's not making you happy, change it. For things that you can't control, try to work on letting those go and process it. Why is this bothering you so much? Why can't you let it go? And if you need help processing things, it's okay to seek psychotherapy. It's okay to ask for help. There is no shame in that. So if you need help, connecting with people, it's okay to reach out to do that as well. Next slide, please. Just a little bit more about some different coping skills. We talked about arranging your environment, cleaning, getting rid of your temptations so you don't have to resist them. I do that so many times when it comes to snacks and unhealthy snacks, just kind of not purchasing unhealthy snacks so that I don't have to have that craving or see them in my pantry every day. Optimize time tasks so they align with your willpower. So I don't know about you, but I've always heard don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. So definitely go grocery shopping when you're already full. Boost your willpower in the moment. So postpone, say not now, but maybe later, to get the devil off your shoulder when you're tempted. Distract, give your impulse a chill pill by focusing on something else for a few minutes. Remove the temptation from plain sight or remove yourself from the situation. That goes in line with shopping. So if I'm tempted to reach for the Oreos, just don't even have it in the house, and that hopefully won't be a problem. Meditate. So just like working out, we had talked about taking a few minutes throughout the day to add up to a 10-minute mindful meditation. So maybe you do 5 minutes in the morning, and then you do 5 minutes at night. Also working up to 10 minutes. So maybe you do 2 minutes at a time. And then once you get good at doing 2 minutes, you increase it to 4, and then you increase it to 6, and so on. Again, just everything takes practice, and it's okay to start slow. Sleeping, again, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Stop swearing. I say that all with just negative talk in general. If you kind of journal and keep in mind of all the negative thoughts that we have in our head, it's I forget the exact number, but we actually do have a lot of negative judging thoughts throughout our day. We may not say them out loud, but we say them in our heads, whether it's about ourselves or other people. It's actually, if you sit there and kind of pay attention to it, it's quite shocking. So again, that too takes time to kind of train your brain to not be in that negative space. But that kind of helps with having a positive attitude and dealing with stress management. And excuse your setbacks, if you're human, and give yourself a break. We've been talking about setting goals, trying to eat more healthy, trying to get more physical activity. And if you missed a day of working out, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. Get back on your routine tomorrow. So really just try to forgive yourself, be kind to yourself. So next slide, please. So for those of you who haven't heard, there is a term called FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. And this is all about building healthy internet and social media habits. So there are some negative effects to social media. And if that's something that this last couple of years has taught me, there's a lot of mindless scrolling on social media, a lot of people who, because there is that barrier where they don't have to see people face to face, they can get very angry and just start going off on social media. So yes, there's some great things about social media. You can stay connected with people. It can be fun, but there's also some negative effects to it. A lot of people with their filters, right? Vanity when faced with others, and seeing how other people are doing, seeing all these filters or catfishing, and that's not exactly how they look, but you're judging yourself for how you look because you're comparing yourself to other people. Being envious of people's life because they're doing, amazing things and you're at home. It can make you feel lonely if you're not getting as many comments or people aren't interacting with you. And then over time, that just really stresses you out. That gives you anxiety. So we tend to focus on the negative. That's just kind of human. What we do as humans is focusing on the negative. So some ways to kind of combat that is maybe setting a timer. So only allow yourself to be on social media a few hours a day. And once that time is up, it's up. You can actually, on your phone, there are settings where it can notify you and tell you how much time you've spent on certain social media apps. And then finding other ways to occupy your time when you're bored, or use it as a reward instead of a time filler. So if you did something healthy, like you accomplished one of your daily goals that we set in week 1 or week 2, reward yourself with 5 minutes of time on Instagram because you tried a new vegetable or you tried a new workout, or you can replace your social media app altogether. I've done this a few times. I've replaced it with a reading app. So when instead of reaching for Instagram, I reach for my Audible book and I use that instead. I've also used the Calm app for meditation, or a breathing app. So instead of reaching for Facebook, I use that. And do a social media fast. So maybe take 1 week where you just delete or hide your app so you don't use it for a week. And you'll just try that and see what happens. I promise you, you'll feel so much better, even just for a week. Next slide, please. So we talk about turning that FOMO, fear of missing out, to JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. So you'll notice that mindless scrolling and how much time will go by and you're like, oh my gosh, I've just been on social media this whole time. What have I been doing? So it takes away from your opportunity to live in the moment. And we're already just so filled with so many online messages, emails at work, text messages, people sharing things on their phones with you. So really just needing to take some time away from the phone, away from technology, and just be in the moment. If you feel good about missing out, we talked about having that envy where people are doing, all these amazing things because that's what it shows on social media that they're doing. Skipping out on social media or skipping out on events can actually be beneficial. You can have some time for yourself, work on your own self-improvement, and you don't have to really constantly worry about comparing yourself to other people, as we talked about. And then you can also have a deeper connection. You can only connect with people so far on social media. If you connect with them one-on-one in person, over lunch or brunch, over a walk together, you'll just have better opportunities for deeper communication. And there actually is benefits to boredom. So research has shown that boredom leads you to seek new stimulating experience to fill the activity-free void. That can happen when screen constantly stimulating and distracting you. So set aside time to experience your boredom and see what you come up with. Think about when we were quarantined, we had to find ways to occupy our time. I got into calligraphy, got into puzzles. So you can kind of fill that time when you're not using social media. So again, set a timer, set some boundaries, also at work. So that's important too, is setting those boundaries with work after hours. Obviously, if you have deadlines, you have deadlines, but being real careful to shut down at 5 o'clock or whatever time you're done with work. And set a time to check the news. I know a lot of people use social media for news, but setting a time to check it at that time, and that's it. So again, avoiding that mindless scrolling. And as I mentioned, maybe delete the app for a week or even a weekend and enjoy that, and find some ways to fill that time. Next slide, please. And then finally, quit smoking. We had talked about that a lot of people turn to smoking or vaping when they're stressed, and it's a form of calming habit for them. So here are just some tips to quit smoking. I apologize, there's a typo in the phone number, so it's call 1-800-QUIT now. There's an extra one in there, but just some tips to help you quit smoking. Listed here. I won't read through all of it, but we can send you the resources after this presentation. And then that's it. So, or I think there's one more slide, maybe. Is there one more? Oh, yes. So that was the mental well-being and stress management tips for you all. Since this is our final week, just wanted to quickly recap our 4 weeks of time together. So the first week we talked about knowing your numbers, getting a wellness check, really talking to your doctor and building a plan, and getting your blood pressure levels checked. Again, 120/80 is ideal. There are different levels of hypertension, so making sure you know your numbers and talking about it with your doctor. Also checking your fasting glucose or your A1C, as well as your cholesterol levels. You can ask for all of those to be checked at the same time. Talk to your doctor about your weight and what is a healthy weight and what you can do to get there. Eat smart was what we covered in week 2. So using less salt and more herbs, increasing the amount of fruits and veggies. We recommend 4 to 5 servings of each. So 4 to 5 of fruits, 4 to 5 of veggies. Healthy recipes can be found at recipes.heart.org. Katie, if you don't mind putting the links in the chat, that'd be great. And then week 3, we talked about physical activity and ways you can move more. So we say to aim for 20 to 30 minutes per day and slowly work your way up to those 30 minutes. You can even do 10 minutes at a time, 3 times a day. And then finding ways throughout your day. So if you're going to be gardening, if you're going to be taking a phone meeting, go ahead and do a phone walking meeting, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, going down every single aisle at the grocery store if you already have to go to the grocery store. But we also have a number of workouts that you can find on our website. There's also ones you can find online, I'm sure, by Googling. And then today, managing stress and well-being, just key takeaways: be sure to get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Find things that you can be grateful for. Stay connected to your family and friends. Get out in nature, fresh air, get that vitamin D. watch out for FOMO and mindless social media scrolling. And you can learn more about healthy mental well-being habits at our website that Katie, thank you for putting into the chat. So again, thank you all. I'm just going to scroll in the chat real quick if there were any barriers or things you guys wanted to talk about. Doesn't look like there were any questions or anything. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Any final questions throughout the whole, not just today's presentation, but the entire month that we've been together? All right. Well, thanks for going on this journey with us. We hope you'll continue with your goals. Margaret, you came off mute. Do you have something to share?
I'll just thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining. It's been a pleasure to see you and your face every week.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good luck everyone on your health journey. Thank you.
Thanks. Will you be having more of these?
Bye.